Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi and today we are going to be doing the August repurchase review. So if you're new here, that is when we go through all of the new items I featured on my channel that month and any updated thoughts, whether I'd purchase them again if I had to do it over again. So let's go through that. We also have a top 5 at the end of the video. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with Chantecailel Fall. So Chantecailel Fall, it included 4 of the single eyeshadows. So we have the 2 in color are going to be your matte eye shades. We've got Palomino and Bay. And then we have 2 more additions to the luminescent eye shades. So those are in the black and white. They go along with the classic, packaging of those. And I have to say, I thought the colors on these looked really beautiful. This one here, by the way, is Roan. This one's Pinto. And, they are very nice neutral shades. However, they are warmer than the promo photos. So let me just go ahead and show you those. This one here's Pinto, and then here is Roan. And you can see that Pinto in the promo photos, it really looked much more like a taupier shade, but it's got a little bit, like it was a taupey mauve. This is actually going to be a little bit of a warmer brown with some mauve. And then we have this shade here, which definitely has a bit more of that golden coppery tone to it. And then Palomino, one of the matte shades. This is like a matte ivory, but you can see even with this, again, we have kind of a little bit of a peachy undertone to that. So it is going to be a little bit warm. And then Bay here looks like a rich chocolate, but there is going to be a hint of red in here. I think it's a really beautiful shade. That being said, these shades are nothing unique. You can find these shades in other places. So it really comes down to packaging and, the formulas in these are both nice. So, they are in line with other Chantecaille shadows. There were also some lip veils. I did not pick those up, but I would have to say, would I purchase the Chantecaille eye shades again? Honestly, I would not. I think, for these shades, I can find things that I am even happier with in other formulas or colors. Let me show you an example. Now, I know I've talked about this one a lot. This is YSL's Satin Crush. This was from, I think, holiday last year. It's called Unconforming Taupe. It's number 28. And you can see this is going to be significantly cooler. So it's very different from those. But even so, there are some other neutral singles that I think are, maybe a slightly better option. This one here is the Dior Mono in Beige Mitza. And another beautiful shade. Kind of goes with the Chantecaille theme, but this is going to be slightly different. Again, though, I think this is a really great option. And then Jones Road has some really great singles. I really like their single eyeshadows. They have, the mattes and the satin and metallics. This one here is called Patina. Now, I have her cooler tone shades, like Patina has a bit more of a cooler hue to it, but they do have warmer shades that I personally do not have, but I do believe that you might be able to find something similar to those Chantecaille shades. So just something to note. So in summation, I think the Chantecaille collection is a really beautiful collection. It does lean warmer than I was expecting it to. And overall, I am just not super thrilled with it for that price point. So I would not repurchase those. Next up, we have the Surratt Concealer, and this was gifted to me. I have shade 1 and 3, and honestly, I do really like these. I am not typically a fan of this type of packaging. I know that you can actually kind of rip this off, if you really don't like the cushion thing, but it doesn't bother me as much with a concealer, so I just leave it. This one here is shade 3. Shade 3 is actually more of my perfect match, but if I want brightening, shade 1 is nice. And I think this is a really great concealer. So this was gifted, but I would purchase this one myself. And then we have one of the Guerlain Fall lipsticks. I had picked up all except for this shade, which is 139. I was really looking forward to getting this, but it's more orange than I thought. I think it's okay. It doesn't look great on me. It would look nice on somebody with a warmer undertone. I have a neutral undertone and it leans a little cool. So if you have a warmer undertone, I think this would be a nice shade, but you can see we definitely have a peachy vibe here. So for me personally, I wouldn't repurchase it, but It's a great formula. It's a great shade for people with warmer undertones. Also, this was gifted to me from Beauty Bay, and I think it's a really beautiful palette. If I were starting out and I really didn't have, much of a collection, or I really just wanted to have a whole bunch of neutral shades on hand and so forth. This is their neutral palette, by the way. I think this would be a nice one to have. They've got some, they're nice basic formulas. You've got a really nice range of colors. So I would purchase this. They go on sale fairly often. So definitely if you are interested in it, definitely get it on sale. But I think it's a really great collection of basics that, if you don't already have in your collection, you're just starting off, or you're looking for, maybe a gift for like a teenager or somebody who is new to makeup. This might be a nice option, to kind of play with and see exactly what shades and tones you really gravitate towards. Next, we have the Valentino Liquirossos. I picked up a lot of these. As you can tell, I really like them. I actually would purchase more of them. I have contemplated, getting more of these and just kind of finishing off the collection. But honestly, I don't need them, so I'm going to be good. But when they come out with new colors, I'm not going to hesitate to purchase. So I really like these. You can use these as blush. You can use these as lipstick. I just think it's a really nice product. So I really like the color range that they have as well. So these are definitely a repurchase for me. Now, mine is in the process of being washed. It's drying right now. So that is the Sonia G Sheer Buffer, which I have had on my channel before, but I did a dedicated video with that brush and all the different ways you could use it. It's a fantastic brush. I would definitely pick that one up again. But I would like to note that one was gifted to me specifically. However, I always purchase all Sonia G brushes, so it's definitely one that I would recommend. Next, we have Prada Beauty. So I picked up quite a few things from Prada. Well, not that much to start off with, but I picked up 2 palettes and 2 lipsticks, and I love them. This one here is my favorite. As far as I know, it's still sold out everywhere. This shade here, this kind of like rosy metallic, I mean, it's just really beautiful. I absolutely love it. So I picked up this one, which is palette number 4. And then also this one, which I'm guessing, I'm not even sure if these are the right numbers, but it says 1 on here. I feel like this isn't supposed to be number 1, but maybe it is. But anyway, I think these are just really great palettes. I love having the different colors in here. They really stayed true to the brand. And when you look at their photos, you can see like the fabric samples that they use as inspiration for the palettes. I think they're great. The lipsticks I thought were also really nice. They're not necessarily a favorite. I actually like the Hyper Matte over the Soft Matte, but I like them both enough that I've already placed another order and I've picked up a couple more palettes and a few more lipsticks. So stay tuned. I'll have a video on those next month. But I really do like the Prada Beauty. I think it's great. Now, if you haven't heard, right now it is available at Selfridges. It's available at Prada. And it is going to do a slow rollout of other retailers starting in 2024. So, it may be coming to other like US department stores and things like that, but not until 2024. And then they'll do some retailers, this month, a few more the next, and so forth. And with my Prada order, I also ordered the foundation, and I picked up shade 110. There is a lighter shade, and I think the lighter shade would actually be better for me. I'm contemplating picking that up maybe in another month or so. But I do really like the foundation. I think it's a really beautiful foundation, so I would purchase that again. Next, we have Chantecailel Fall. I picked up the beige, rosé, et mauve, and I think it is a nice blush. I like it. I think it's a nice blush. So I would pick the blush up again. I think it is a nice product. I also picked up one of the loose powder eyeshadows. So I have this one here, which is number 414. It's the purpley shade. And I have to say, I really like the color of this. I don't like this applicator. I have played around with this a little bit more. And I do actually really like the way it looks on my eyes, but it's kind of like you gotta do like extra steps to get it to look great. If you put it on with the applicator like Chanel recommends, then there's fallout, it's messy, I don't like that. So really what's best is to put down a deposit of product like on the back of your hand or a palette or something like that, and then use a brush or applicator to apply it to your eye. But just those extra steps, it's like, why am I paying that much for the extra steps? I love this color though. I would love to see it in a pressed form. But, you know, the actual finish of this powder is nothing different than you would get from a pressed shadow. So for me, there is nothing, there is no benefit to having the extra step for me. So it's just not something I would gravitate to. So I would pass on these, although I really do like this color. I think it's a really great, especially if you've got brown eyes like I do. You know, I have a touch of hazel in them. So it does help kind of bring out some of those other hues. And I think it's a really beautiful shade, but it's too messy, too much work. So, and then we have the Christian Dior Rouge Forever lipsticks. So not a new formula, but they released some new shades, and I picked up a few of the new shades. This one here is my favorite. It is number 670 Rose Blues. My second favorite is going to be 625 Mitza, which I just picked up in my second order of these. So this one is going to be slightly warmer. Both of these shades are gorgeous, but I have to say the Rose Blues is now like in my rotation of favorite lipsticks, like total. So it's such a beautiful, beautiful color. I really like both of these. So yeah, I would definitely pick these up again. I think the formula on these is great. You know, it's long lasting. You don't want the matte look. Add some gloss on top. It's not going to last quite as long, but you know, it's still really great. I think it's worth it. We also have the new Valentino When in Paris palette. And I really love the way that it looks in the pans. It swatches a bit differently than it looks in the pan. It's definitely significantly warmer. I like it, but I don't love it. Would I pick this one up again? Honestly, I think I would rather try the other color story. But there are some really nice shades in here, but overall, it's warmer than what I was expecting. So I would pick up another one of these again, but not this particular color story. Next, we have the Dior Liquid Lipstick. So these are called the Rouge Forever Liquids. And I love the formula of these. This, however, shade number 100, which is our lightest shade. This is your like nude look shade, which, do they call it that? It doesn't have the name on here, but I think it's nude look or nude forever. But I feel like their color range, they need some lighter shades in there. However, the formula is great. It's like the Chanel Ultra Tenue Duos, but instead of having the two separate steps, it's all in one. The Chanel perhaps lasts slightly better than these. However, you know, honestly, if I'm wearing lipstick for like 14, 15 hours, I don't have a problem touching up at that point. So yeah, you know, I think these are fantastic. I really like these. I would pick those up again. I do hope they expand the color range and have some lighter shades in here. Most of them are going to be in the darker range, the brighter, you know, reds and so forth. We also have the Bobbi Brown Moonstone collection, and I love packaging on these. So I think it's really beautiful. This is a great palette if you like light shimmery shades. You can use this wet or dry. I think it's a great palette. I really like it. I think it is, you know, definitely one that I really appreciate. And if you want these a little bit deeper, you can use them wet. You can use them over like a dark pigment, and they're gorgeous. I also, actually right now, my eyes, I have a tiny bit of the Cosmic shade, which is one of the singles from here. And again, this is going to be pretty light. I do wish this was a little bit more pigmented, and you know, that the base itself was a bit more pigmented, because you can see we've got a lot of green sparkle, but you know, there's not a whole ton. There's a lot of translucency to it. So I do wish that there was a bit more of a stronger green base to it, kind of like the Chantecaille Marin. I'm just going to swatch that with it real quickly. So I think I had forgotten to swatch this one in the comparison video, so I did want to put that in here, but you can see we've got a bit more pigmentation to the Chantecaille. So I do wish the Bobbi Brown was a little bit more It had a little bit more presence, but I think it's a really beautiful green shade. So I love the Moonstone collection. I think it's gorgeous. It's ethereal. Again, you can get it more pigmented, but overall you're looking at a soft ethereal look and it's gorgeous. So I would definitely repurchase the items I picked up from there again. We also had a couple of the eye crayons in like an opal shade and so forth. Really beautiful. One thing to note though, as always with Bobbi Brown, we do have a few re-promotes there. So like Moonstone as an eye crayon, that was a re-promote. And you know, you've got some of the, there were 3 monos and I think at least one of them was a re-promote. So just double check to see what you have before you make a purchase. Then we have the face tints from Bobbi Brown and Hourglass. Honestly, I think these are both great. They're comparable. Go with whichever one you have a better color match with. The Bobbi Brown has SPF 15. For me, I do wear a separate sunscreen, but a little extra sun protection when I'm wearing a skin tint is always great because I typically only use skin tints when I'm not really wearing any makeup or, you know, just very, very minimal makeup. So a little extra sun protection doesn't hurt because it's typically like when I'm going to be outside in the sun for a while. I think both of the skin tints are nice. I honestly think they're pretty comparable though. So, you know, it's really, it just comes down to the shade selection and so forth with those, or if you are somebody who is looking for specific ingredients. So the Hourglass definitely, you know, they've got a really nice ingredient profile being like cruelty free. They're made in Italy. You've got a 1-year shelf life on these and so forth. And then the Bobbi Brown, this is made in Belgium. You actually have 1.7 fluid ounces here. And yeah, so it's kind of a toss up between the two of those. For me personally, my favorite is still the Sisley skin tint, and I don't use skin tints enough. So I would actually, I'm done buying skin tints. I wouldn't purchase one of those again. I would just stick with my Sisley and just call it a day because again, I don't wear them often enough for it to be, you know, a frequent purchase. And then we have the Chanel Parure Cristal quad. Now mine was broken, so I had to send it back and I haven't received a replacement yet. So I don't have that to show right now, but I think it's a nice palette. It's not as great as I was expecting. I think it's just okay. Honestly, for the price point being a $70 palette versus the price you can pay for one of the Prada palettes at Selfridges, I would pick up a Prada palette, but I do think it's a really nice, light quad. I like it. I think it's great. So, you know, I would pick it up again, but I don't think it's a must-have. And then the new Guerlain Meteorites. This is going to be the color story in the holiday Meteorites. I'm kind of sad about that because I would have preferred to get that packaging, but I didn't know until after I already had this one. And, you know, I still prefer the original because it was slightly cooler in tone. This is a little bit warmer. However, I do still love the Meteorites. I don't notice any difference in the formula. So I would definitely pick up the Meteorites again. Guerlain Powder Foundation. I think this is a nice powder foundation. It's on par with the Dior Powder Foundation in my opinion, but my favorite is still the SUQQU. They do need a better color range from SUQQU though, so it's not always an option for everybody. But I think this is nice. I will have a full video on this. I just did a first impressions. It's nice, but it's not a love. Would I pick this one up again? I probably would not because I do tend to gravitate more towards your liquid and cream foundations. Powder foundation, if I'm going to be using it on a regular basis, it really has to wow me. And this is just a little bit too dry for me to really wow me. Jones Road Brow Gel. I'm wearing the light brunette shade right now. This was gifted. This is the clear one here. I think this is a nice brow gel. The clear one reminds me a lot of the Givenchy Mr. Brow, which I really love, but is hard to find now. So this is definitely one that for me, it's going to replace that in my routine. And the other one in the light brunette, you know, I think that is a nice brow gel as well. And yeah, overall, I think they are nice and I will definitely use them in my routine. I think the clear is probably more versatile for me. I think using this over a pencil is great, and that's kind of probably what I will gravitate towards, but I really like the ease and quickness of using the light brunette. So honestly, I think having both options is something really great to have. Then we have the Burberry Liquid Lipsticks. This is a fantastic formula. They perform so well. This one here is shade 108 Tangerine Red. You know, they are matte, they're air, you know, featherweight, very light on the lips. You've got pigmentation, they perform well. They are really wonderful. I would definitely pick up more of these in the future. Moving on to SUQQU Autumn Winter or Fall collection. This one here is shade 143 in the blush. It is a favorite of mine. I wear this one quite a bit. I also, you know, that was actually my part 1 that I had like a month ago, but I did the part 2 when I got my order, and this is 142. I'm wearing this one actually today. It's become a go-to shade. I really like it. The palettes are gorgeous as always. You know, we always see some great palettes. So this is the new one that I featured this time. I think the pink is a nice shade. For me personally though, what I love are these top 2 shades. This is like a perfect base shade for me. And then this like blue gray, I think is just a gorgeous shade. So I love that. And then I also picked up, you know, the liquid eyeshadows, and I don't love the liquid eyeshadows, but I like them. I like them in conjunction with the powder shadows. I think they're a nice formula. So in my video, I had mentioned that, you know, I was missing a shade, but it was actually because it was out of stock and they didn't charge me for it. So I just didn't realize that at the time. So just wanted to share that. And then the eye primer, I've been using this a lot, and I did just purchase the new Pat McGrath eye primer too. So we'll be comparing those and having a video on those, you know, side by side, how they perform and so forth, coming up soon. But what I have to say is these SUQQU Moisture Rich lipsticks, I absolutely love the shades that they used for this collection. This one is 126, and it is a go-to lipstick shade for me. I absolutely love it. And, you know, I think the lipsticks and the blushes for me are the stars of this particular collection. But I also want to include this palette 128. So I actually, between the two palettes, the 128 is my favorite. But I really do like both of them. Then we have the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I think this is a really great palette of basics. I'm actually using the shade Stone and Mia right now, along with the Bobbi Brown Cosmic on my eyes, just for very light. You can see the green and the pink are very subtle on there. But I think this is just a great staple to have. You've got wonderful basics. The formulas are nice. I love it. So yeah, definitely this would be a repurchase. And then we have the Givenchy limited edition blush in number 14, Tulle Violet. And I really like this blush. I think it is a great rose blush, but I was hoping for purple. That being said, I would purchase it again because I think it's a gorgeous shade, but it doesn't really go with its name in my opinion. So I'd still love to see a purple blush Givenchy, but this is one that I would pick up again. However, it is hard to get, so it's not one that I would stress over. So those are it for all of my new releases for August that I had time to feature on my channel. Honestly, things have been super chaotic and busy here at home, you know, with things like repairs, like my dryer broke a week ago and things like that. We've got school starting. I've had a ton of meetings. My kids go to different schools and they're in all these activities. And now just for the school transport, I get to spend 2.5 hours driving every day instead, you know, and then after school activities and things on top. So it's been kind of crazy, but hopefully we'll get, you know, things settled a little bit more soon. And I've got a ton that I can't wait to share with you, such as the new Prada items that I purchased. So I've got those Tom Ford quads and so forth as well, the new Lancome collection. And let's go ahead and go through my top 5 for August. So for my top 5, I have to say this was a really, really tough decision. There were definitely a lot of great products. These are not in any particular order, but the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude, I think this was a great palette, so that made it to my top 5. The other eyeshadow palette is the Prada, and this is the number 4 palette with the green. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this palette, so that made it. And the other 3 products are probably not much of a surprise, but they are lip products. We have the SUQQU in the 126 that I swatched here. Absolutely love this shade. The Valentino Liquirossos. This one here is the one I've been using a lot. It's 109R. I like it for blush and for lips, so it's kind of both. options. And then of course the Dior in 670. So that's this one here. This is the rose blues. So those are my top 5 for this month, and I'd love to hear what you've been enjoying this month, any favorites or fails that you've had for August, and let me know what you've really been enjoying. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.